Hey guys, a question to you. Among all of the watch brands out there, there is one whose story is properly tied to the history of aviation. What would it be? Right, Longines. And this year marks the 100th anniversary of that connection, celebrated with the launch of the new Spirit Zulu Time 1925. But if we go a little bit back to the late 19th and early 20th century, to the early days of flight, back when getting an airborne actually took just as much courage as it did engineering, one thing became clear. Aviation didn't just need a good watch, it needed a completely different way of thinking about time. So pilots couldn't really rely on the local time of departure and arrival, they needed a standard reference. That reference became GMT, now known as UTC, Coordinated Universal Time, a constant across all flight operations. And in aviation and military communication, time isn't just set, right? It's coded. To avoid confusion over radio, especially when signal quality is quite poor, the NATO phonetic alphabet was adopted. In this system, each letter gets a code word: Alpha for A, Bravo for B, Charlie for C, and sure, Zulu for Z. Z being the shorthand for zero meridian time, UTC plus 0, Greenwich Mean Time. So when a pilot says, let's say, we're wheels up at 1400 Zulu, they are talking about universal time. No local offsets, no AM, PM guesswork, just precision. Zulu became the language of global coordination, especially in the air and at sea. And Longines didn't just watch it happen, they helped to shape it. So how did it all start? In 1908, they made the first dual-time pocket watches for the Ottoman Empire, the first to display 2 time zones on a single dial with dual minute and hour hands to convert Turkish time to Western European time. By 1925, the things got really serious, because they launched the first dual time zone wristwatch, the original Zulu Time, built for the Royal Canadian Navy and marked with the Z signal flag on the dial. Then 1927, Charles Lindbergh crosses the Atlantic solo. 33 hours and 39 minutes, no GPS, no fancy tech, just a compass, some maths, and a Longines. By the 30s, Longines developed one of the first true GMT cockpit clocks with rotating bezel and luminescent indicator showing 2 time zones, which became an indispensable tool for aviation pioneers like Hugh Hendron and Clyde Pangborn, famous for completing the first non-stop flight across the Pacific Ocean in 1931. It's part of what cemented Longines' reputation as a go-to brand for serious aviation tools. And now, that same innovation approach lives on in the Spirit Zulu Time collection. First introduced in 2022 in a 42mm case, and a year later in a 39mm case, the evolution continued in 2024 with a super modern appeal, one of my favorite timepieces, in titanium. Lightweight, stealthy, and built for the more rugged crowd. And now for 2025, Longines is dropping the big one, a watch to mark 100 years since the original Zulu Time. And yeah, it's different. That year, 1925 model had a square case, a bit of Art Deco going on, very of its time. The new version is a modern tool watch, round 39mm steel case, clean lines, and the proper 24 hours bidirectional bezel. What makes it special is the rose gold capped insert. First time we've seen that in the collection, with a nice circular brushed finish and engraved numerals that really pop. The rose gold isn't just for looks either. It's a nod to the copper strip running through the prime meridian at Greenwich, literally the 0 point for global time. The dial, matte black for anti-reflection and maximum legibility, a direct reference to Longines' 20th century military and aviation heritage, particularly to watches developed in the 1930s and 40s. The rose gold-colored hands and markers jump off the surface, and of course, you've got superluminova across the board. At 6 o'clock, 5 stars, the signature of Longines' top great movements, a clean date window, and God thanks we love a date window at 6 o'clock, and a septal engraving 1925-2025. And then the back, sapphire case back, which is the first for the Zulu timeline, showing off the rose gold PVD rotor with an engraved planisphere, sliced right through the prime meridian. Proper geeky detail, as it should be. Inside is Longines' exclusive L844.4 caliber, which stands for COSC certified, 72-hour power reserve, silicon balance spring, and it's 10 times more resistant to magnetic fields than the standard requires. Always good in a world of laptops and phones. The watch becomes with 2 straps out of the box, a steel bracelet with a double folding clasp, and a black netto strap with a pin buckle. Both solid choices depending on how you wear your watch. And yeah, for sure it comes in a proper anniversary presentation box, because of course it does. Even though this watch is packed with history, the GMT remains one of the most useful and probably the simplest complication to this day. And that's what makes it so fascinating.